The minority in parliament is describing the NPP's manifesto as being full of lies. Stories by Niyaikwe Okain. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com. And it says the minority in parliament has expressed skepticism about the ability of the New Patriotic Party NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to fulfill the party's manifesto promises if voted for in the December polls. Now, the NPP launched its manifesto on Sunday, August 18, outlining commitments to create more jobs, harmonize import duties at ports, and enhance road infrastructure through public-private partnerships. However, the First Deputy Minority Whip, Ahmed Ibrahim, has dismissed the manifesto as full of deception, casting doubt on the party's ability to deliver on its promises. Quote, the NPP manifesto is full of lies. Dr. Bawumia shirked his responsibility when he said he was a driver's mate. When President Nana brought Dr. Bawumia, he said he was good at the economy. Between Dr. Bawumia and Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who will be managing the economy? Bawumia is trying to distance himself from the economy, that he's not part of it. So between the two, who will be in charge of the economy? We gave you the economy, you failed, you collapsed the economy. End quote. Now this is Ahmed Ibrahim, the Deputy Minority Whip in Parliament, speaking here. This is his own assessment of the manifesto presented by Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia on behalf of the NPP for the 2024 general elections. He thinks whatever was said in there is just a fairy tale that will see no end.
Well, Nana, once again, good morning to our viewers. You see, our politicians will always, dabble with words, especially when it comes to manifestos, and even during presentation of budgets. You know how they attempt to, use words to describe them. So, for that, whether we like it or yes, they will have words to describe each other's, manifesto. Be that as it may, I've heard the vice chairman of the manifesto committee, that is Kojo Opon Nkrumah, say that they have delivered 70% of their promises.
He was on the point of view last
yesterday,
night.
Yes. And then I also heard Miracles Abuaje also say that about 80% of their manifesto promises have also been fulfilled. So on one hand, you have one saying 70, another person also saying 80. But the overall judge at the end of the day will be the ordinary Ghanaian. The ordinary Ghanaian will pick from 2016 to 2024, the 8 years of the NPP. Then also take that of the NDC, from 2009 to 2016 when they left office. And that is how they will judge. Now, they will judge based on a few factors. Basically, the economy, they will come to health, they will come to education. And we all remember the famous statement by the then vice presidential candidate, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, say that he is going to move the economy from taxation to production. And I think this statement is out there for all of us too.
It was actually quite profound when it was made.
Exactly. But
remember, they described some taxes as nuisance taxes.
But can we actually say that indeed we have moved our country, Ghana, from 2016 to 2024, we find ourselves from taxation to production? Yes, it is a fact that some one district, one factory have been established. Okay, some factories have been established. We can talk of the Kumfi. That is one I am so proud of, because I taste that product a lot. And we look at the taxation element too. Would you believe that even this year, a new tax came into force?
Which tax is this?
The emissions tax.
Right.
So that you, as a driver, if you go to the, what's the name? The Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority to either register your car or renew your license, whatever, you are made to pay the emissions levy. We are still paying for COVID.
Yeah.
Even in an election year,
Yeah.
one would have thought that, oh, since it's election, let's get rid of some of these taxes. I mean, they were introduced as interim measures to forestall, some revenue shortfalls. To date, since the inception of COVID, somewhere 2019, we are still paying for COVID levy.
Yeah.
We are paying for e-levy. The government told us that, listen, by virtue of the fact that we are not going to the IMF, there is the need for us as citizens, to go through a bit of pain just so we bring our economy to the life that we want it to come to. Then the citizens agreed so that we will pay the e-levy. Then government, some way, somehow, Nicodemously passed behind the door and went knocking at the door of IMF. IMF, I have come with their cap in hand.
Yeah.
IMF didn't have a choice. First tranche was issued, second tranche issued. Okay, so these are the basics, or if you like, the fundamentals the Ghanaian voter will be looking out for. That you made XYZ promises as far as your manifesto was concerned. Yeah. I read in the news that prior to the manifesto, Dr. Bawumia had promised about 68. Just this year alone, when he was made the flag bearer. 68 promises, and I'm like, huh? Even before the manifesto comes out. So just suppose that with the manifesto that was launched, over the weekend, vis-a-vis, what do you call it, the numerous promises he's made. And so, yes, both parties will have their way of describing each other's, weaknesses and strength. But I, as a voter, will base on my economic conditions, my current conditions, my standard of living. How is my situation like? Am I better off than I was yesterday? Okay, these are the basics that I'll be looking out for to determine who to vote for. Because as I sit here, I'm still undecided. I'm telling you.
And there are so many people like you.
And there are so many of us out there who are undecided as to who to vote for. Yes, somebody said that to date, if you do not know who you are voting for, then you don't know where you are going. I'm like, oh, okay. It takes a lot for some of us to be convinced to vote for whoever. All right?
So you're still weighing your options.
I'm still weighing. And I need them to convince me as to who to vote for.
So this manifesto was not convincing enough?
But as it stands, I have not decided on who to vote for.
Is it that you are waiting for the NDC to launch its manifesto?
Well, they have launched a semblance of their manifesto by way of the youth manifesto. And then we have also seen that of the NPP. I am yet to compare the two, weigh and see where I can fall in. Now, let's come to the ordinary Ghanaian.
Yeah.
I mentioned that the ordinary Ghanaian will be looking at the economy, and I made mention of the various taxes, and then also education. You remember the trump card of the NPP at the time was free senior high.
Yeah.
And it is evident that they have been able to deliver that level of promise, albeit the challenges associated with it. I mean, we all know the issues bedeviling the implementation of the free senior high school. Quite apart from that, the ordinary Ghanaian will also be looking at the health sector. To date, the renal unit of Kolebu Hospital is under lock and key. Why? Because of ordinary consumables.
Are the consumables ordinary?
Oh, come on, Nana, come on.
They are still sitting at the ports.
Consumables. They are struggling to open the unit because they do not have them. And tomorrow, I'm told the patients are going to be picketing at Kolebu. Come on. Where did we go wrong as a nation? 60-something years.
Yeah.
We cannot put our health in check. That almost all the time, a particular unit at the hospital will have to be shut down because of the absence of consumables. Such a shame. So these are the basics one will be looking out for. Aside education, we can talk of corruption. We can talk of the environment. I mentioned about Galamsey. No, these are the nitty-gritties that will go into the overall decision making of the voter out there, if you ask me.
All right, thank you, Paul. Let me quickly say hi to Larry Dogbe, managing editor of the Herald newspaper, who's been kind enough to join us. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning.
I trust you're well.
I'm okay.
What's with the look on your face? I don't know. What's going on?
No. So, I was listening to Paul, and he was saying that he hasn't made up his mind yet.
Yeah.
But
Have you?
I think he has.
Oh,
I can
so?
tell you who he's going to vote for, but
You are sure?
wait a while.
Let him state it here and now. If he knows, let him
No,
state
no.
it here and now.
But what gives you that conviction that Paul has made up his mind and you know who he's going to vote
Paul
for?
is my friend.
Eh,
Yeah, Paul is my friend.
So does he know who you're voting for?
Oh, well, it's possible he knows, but he's also not allowed to say it.
Granted. Yeah, so just gone by, we're looking at the NPP's manifesto.
Yeah.
The minority things is only a document of lies. It's full of deception.
Yeah.
And Dr. Baumia, if indeed elected as president, will not be able to fulfill the promises in there.
Yeah.
First off, let me pick your general thoughts on the manifesto as it was launched by Dr. Baumia before even we go into the assessment made by the minority.
Okay, I think that it was a brilliant point. Okay, we are, as a people, approaching another decision-making, period. And we need documents of such nature to guide us to make an informed decision. It's a participatory democracy where your idea, his idea, my idea, and others come together to advance the betterment of the country. So I think that it's good. Now, it's early days yet. We are, so one can't say for a fact that, is the best thing for Ghana, because other political parties are also, coming up with theirs.
Yes.
The NDC this weekend has promised
on
to
the 24th.
To bring out its manifesto. Then we can compare, or do comparative analysis as to what is in it for us as a people. In every venture you go into, I've been told that just ask what's in it for you.
Yeah.
And once you begin to know what's in it for you, and others, then you could make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to commit yourself to it or not. Yes. As to whether or not it's a lie, as the minority is saying, for me, I mean, it is we are in the season of, banter. So they will come out and say, oh, it's a lie, Shinim, and so on. And mind you, the NDC has been trying to tag Baumia as a liar.
Yeah.
That he promised this, he didn't deliver, he did that, he didn't say. So it is the usual thing. But when DS come, then we can compare, and then, as I said, we can make an informed decision. So that's the only short thing I would say. However, I'm noticing something. I mean, he mentioned that how old are we now? 65 years or more?
66.
66.
Yeah.
Meaning, if we were, let's say,
would have been on pension.
we would have been on pension long
6
ago.
years ago. With what? With what?
There's nothing to show for it.
What are we showing for?
But there's the Galamsey, there's the corruption, there's the until recently the intermittent power supply.
That is not good enough.
That's the sad state of
Exactly.
the country we're in.
And sadly, all of us are noticing that there is something wrong with us practically. The young, okay, the old, even babies born today.
Yeah.
I also appreciating the fact that
They owe.
yes, exactly. So right from the the period of conception, I mean, you are indebted.
Exactly.
So when?
Yeah.
So when?
So that means that if I understand what you're saying, that means there should have been more bold
Yeah, I mean,
pronouncements on how to deal with
both
some
pronouncements
of
have been made.
these
One
issues.
district, one factory was
Yeah.
promised. At the time, we kept asking, what would you do in, let's say, in my district, at Akachi? What would you do? And nothing came out.
Yeah.
I recall one individual, when he was asked, he said, oh, when you go to his hometown, somewhere in Nandam area, I mean, that people love dog meat. And so, I mean, you could do a dog factory, you could set up a factory that processes dog meat. Because places like China and so on, people eat dog meat.
Yeah.
So it wasn't clear. It wasn't clear. I'm not sure in your district what was done. His district what was put down. Okay, so hence where we are, where that whole thing, nobody talks about it anymore.
Yeah.
That one district, one dam that was promised. I mean, what was done, people describe it as a dugout.
Yeah.
So rains came, those, whatever it says, were filled.
With water.
With rainwater. But within a matter of days, they were all gone.
Actually experiencing a dry spell in the north.
Thank you.
Yeah. Farmers are crying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures on your website, and it looks really, really bad.
It's that bad. It's that bad. It's that
So
bad.
where are we going with that? And this is just, less than 2 months of no rain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the crops are drying up.
Yeah.
Food and Agriculture is now saying, now listen, wait, don't put in place certain agronomic practices and so on. So that is there.
They announced dry spell mitigation measures, and there was not a single talk of irrigation.
Yeah. Meanwhile, see the amount of water that gushes into the sea.
Even from the Bagre Dam.
Yes.
What are we doing? I think was it released today or yesterday?
Yeah,
No, 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are we doing? This is where our engineers would have, put the water to proper use.
Pualugu.
Exactly. I was going to go to Pualugu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
The Vice President promised actually in the manifesto to complete Pualugu.
I mean, anyway. So
Why? You don't believe him?
Oh no, it's not about not believing him. I was going to even talk about how, technocrats, have acquired a lot of degrees and masters and so on, just more for a pay rise, rather than actionable, things that
Solution
could
practices,
solutions exactly that could put food on the table.
Larry, what if they are not given the room to operate?
No, I mean we can't continue to be saying that.
Well, I'm also just saying.
Yeah.
No, we can't.
also
No, exactly. Room to operate.
Perhaps your ideas or your expertise, what you want to apply, does not sit or fit into someone's political jargon.
Do you know what somebody would have done? Would have shown you his own stuff. That even though he was not allowed to put this out nationally, in his private life, this is what he's been able to do. So that is why I'm saying that we should stop giving excuses or finding excuses for them. That okay, I wanted to put up this glass.
Yeah.
You wouldn't allow me. But then I put up this.
Yeah.
Okay. Then people begin to ask, I mean, the guy said he could do this. You didn't allow him. But have you seen what he's done?
In his private life,
in his private life, this is what he's done. Okay. In the absence of that, most of all these degrees or schools that even are mostly state funded
Yeah.
are merely just for salary enhancement.
Yeah.
Allowances, this, that, and so on. So many people have been talking all this while. Yet we are where we are. Where, farming is staring us in the face. Hunger is coming.
Yeah.
The youth, listen, go to East Legon. There's a place I could mention. I drive through that place anytime, when I'm going home. And you could see how this country is in trouble. the disappointed youth. So those who are on weed are smoking the biggest of it. Those who are on tramol are doing more. Those who are combining all manner of things. And all you need to do is to ask them, hey, why are you doing this? They say, listen, there's no hope. There's no hope. And so for them, there's nothing like a future that they are aspiring to be this, that. Growing up, we could say, oh, what would you like to be in the future? I'm not sure. When was the last time you asked your son that? Even when you ask him, he won't tell you anything.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so there is something that is looming. There's danger coming. This talk of Gen Z or something, Chief, we are in trouble if nothing is done about this. And you want all the political parties should make their policies clear. Is it youth development? Is it youth development? And what does it mean by development? Because very often they just throw the words out there. And then when you begin to ask for details and so on, nobody can give you anything tangible.
All right. Paul will give us a final take on this and then we can move on.
Yes, quickly. I think after 67 years as a country, there is the need for us to move or shy away from party manifestos and to what is called the national agenda. All right? There ought to be a blueprint. There ought to be a template of some sort where all the players, whether you like it or yes, must really comply.
But we have the National Development Planning
National
Commission.
Development Planning Commission as an agency, that work they did, led by, what's his name?
Is it Dr. Nimoy Thompson?
Yes. That work must be entrenched and must come to the forefront. All the political parties must work in tandem with the work of the national planning.
But you see, the work of the NDPC is not binding.
It's not binding. That's what I'm saying. Parties. It ought to be binding. And that should be our national agenda as a nation. If we do not dovetail whatever manifesto, whatever we decide as individual parties towards the main agenda, then it means we just come in and do whatever we like and go. Okay, we promised free senior high school, so we do it whichever form we want, then it is done. No. That's what I'm saying. Strictly, there must be a national agenda. There must be a blueprint template in place for all the parties to follow. So if you are carving your manifesto, carve it out of the national agenda, so that if you deviate, then we know how as citizens to hold you responsible. Okay? That is what other developed nations are doing. If one comes in and does XYZ, leaves it, another person comes in, you look at the projects that have been abandoned.
But that's because we don't have policies that transcend these political
parties. That's what I'm saying. So there should be a national agenda. That agenda is what must transcend above whatever party manifestos must come in.